If your meta ads are making you want to tear your hair out and take a bath with an electric eel, I almost guarantee it is one of these 3 things, and I'll prove it right now. People love to complicate the hell out of advertising so they can sell you their shitty agency services. But as someone who's spent and made millions on meta ads, I promise success with ads comes down to only 3 things: making the right offer to the right person and training your pixel to find more of them. See, your highest clicked meta ad might actually be the worst performing ad in the account because it can win every metric inside Ads Manager while filling your CRM with brokies who are never going to buy. You launch a new ad on Monday. By Tuesday, it's pulling a 3% click-through rate. Leads are coming in at $12. The comments are all full of people saying, "This is exactly what I need." So you increase the budget, then the sales team starts calling the leads and the whole thing goes to shit. 90% don't answer. The ones who do thought the offer was free. One guy sits through a 40-minute sales call, asks 17 questions, says he needs to talk to his wife, and then smoke bombs the second the payment link arrives. Naturally, the creative gets dragged into court. The copywriter changes the hook, the video editor adds bigger captions and faster cuts, and the media buyer starts touching settings that were perfectly fine. A week later, you have 20 new ads bringing in the same tire kickers. At some point, you have to ask whether attention was ever the problem. What if the ad is doing exactly what you trained Meta to do? Understand, Meta can't hear the sales call. It doesn't know the lead ignored 6 follow-up messages or vanished when the invoice arrived unless you send that information back from your CRM. Meta works with the event you told it to optimize for. If that event is a cheap form submission, Meta will get very good at finding people who submit forms cheaply. The internet has plenty of those. Getting them to buy is where the wheels start to come off. And Meta's own numbers back this up. Advertisers who connected their CRM and optimized for conversion leads saw a 15% lower cost per quality lead and a 44% increase in the rate of leads becoming quality leads, compared with campaigns optimized for lead volume. Basically, when you connect your CRM, Meta finally knows which leads are actually worth finding. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ferres. I've been running Meta ads since 2019. I've coached over 1,000 copywriters, and my students have generated over $1 billion for their clients. That's billion with a B. I help copywriters and creative strategists hit 6 figures. That's all we talk about here on this channel. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 brutal lessons that took me 7 years and over $1.4 million of my own personal ad spend to truly grasp. So you're saving $1 million. Congrats. Subscribe button's below. And if you've been around here for more than 5 seconds, you'll know that I've been banging on about Andromeda for the last year while the rest of the industry was still asleep at the wheel. Still running ads like it's 2024. And if you're unfamiliar, Andromeda is the retrieval and ranking engine sitting at the front of Meta's ads system. It cuts millions of possible ads down to a few thousand before the heavy ranking systems, Lattice and Gem, decide what each person actually sees. So if your copy pulls in tire kickers and your campaign rewards them for filling in a form, Meta has a very clear job. Go and find more people like that. Then everyone opens a CRM on Monday morning and acts shocked when the leads are bad. Hoodoo. That is why a high converting Meta ad starts before you touch the copy. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to find the buyer who is already close to pulling the trigger, give them a reason to move now, and build genuinely different ads instead of slapping a fake mustache on the same script 20 times and calling it creative diversity. But the bit I want you to really watch is what happens after someone fills in the application. There is one simple decision inside that funnel which decides whether Meta learns from people who can actually buy or from every broke tire kicker who knows how to press submit. Get it wrong and the CPL will keep dropping while the lead quality gets worse. Your sales team rage quits and you go back to working at Starbucks wondering where it all went wrong. I'll show you exactly where the setting sits and how to fix it when we get to the signal. But first, let's start with your audience because none of the rest matters if the wrong person is sitting on the other side of the screen. The first thing you need to know is how close your audience already is to buying. Our good old pal Eugene Schwartz mapped this through the 5 stages of awareness. It's a great framework, but frankly, a little abstract. I personally much prefer Chet Holmes' stadium pitch model. So in any given market, no matter what you're selling, the market can be broken up roughly like this. At the top, you've got the 3% of people who are buying now. In my market, these are copywriters who know creative strategy is where all the money is and are looking to get started ASAP. Right below that, you have 7% who are open to it. In my case, these would be copywriters who have seen a bunch of other beginner copywriters making shit tons of money in creative strategy and are curious about it. Under that, you have 30% who are not thinking about it. These would be copywriters who have been living under a rock and somehow haven't seen the creative strategy feeding frenzy that's going on in the market right now. Below that, we have 30% who don't think they're interested because they're clutching onto their cute little $500 email sequence for dear life and refuse to accept that the money has moved on. And the bottom 30% who know they're not interested. Also known as the dumbasses with their head in the sand, gaslighting themselves into thinking that creative strategy isn't the most brain-dead obvious move for copywriters since the invention of the literal internet, where literally all the money is. This pyramid can basically be simplified into 2 buckets. You have your in-market demographic, people looking to buy, and then you have your needs convinced demographic. The lower we go down this pyramid, and the lower lower their awareness level is about their problem, and at the bottom, they don't even know they have a problem. Then they become problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and eventually most aware, where they know what they want and are close to pulling the trigger. For direct response, which is the only type of ads we run around here, you want to obviously live near the top end of the spectrum. Leave the completely unaware market to Apple. They can spend years and billions of dollars teaching the world to want something they didn't even know existed. Pull out 1,000 songs in your pocket and watch everyone lose their minds. Your client is not Apple. They need action now. Take a tax accountant, for example. One person is already looking to hire a new tax accountant. Hi, it's me. I'm right here. The good old Communist Republic of Australia sent me a $200,000 tax bill last month, and that's not really my idea of a good time. So anyone who can help me move my business overseas, please slide in my DMs. Now, to market to a high-paying market like this, full of now buyers, your ad can simply say, hey, need a new tax accountant? We'll lower your tax bill, guaranteed, or you don't pay. Home run, slam dunk offer. I'm in. Where do I sign? Literally take my money, right? Because I already want what you got. You don't got to overcomplicate it with complex funnels. Just make me the offer, dude. Now, compare that with someone who has never considered hiring a tax accountant. Before you can even attempt to sell them your service, you have to first convince them, 1, that they're overspending in taxes, 2, that they can legally reduce their tax bill, and 3, that they need a professional to help them because they won't be able to do it themselves. That's 3 things you have to convince them of before you can even get them to agree that you're the right person for the job. We call this agreement engineering, and it's the driving force behind every winning ad, VSL, and webinar. What core belief must they first have in order to consider buying from you? And then you knock them down one at a time like dominoes, in order all the way to the sale. But it takes time to shift 3 separate beliefs, and it's really hard to do all of that in a 30-second ad, which is why you would need an education piece in your selling process, like a VSL, sales page, or even a webinar. These types of funnels can absolutely rip, but you need to match the right funnel to the right awareness level. If you try to run a direct ad straight to product page, straight to application for a less aware audience who's not already looking for a tax accountant, and you send them straight to the application page, it ain't gonna convert, buddy, because they're in the needs convinced demographic, not the in-market demographic. So stop trying to drag them through the entire sales journey when there are already people in the market who are looking to buy, who want you to take their money. And if you want to know what trigger words to use to unlock the sale, talk to your customers. This ain't rocket science, buddy. Have all your buyers fill out a survey, incentivize them if you need to, transcribe your sales calls, look at your reviews, the good and the bad, throw them all into Claude, tell it to find the common patterns, the objections they're giving you, and the language from your actual buyers, not random broke scrubs on Reddit who have nothing to do but fucking talk on forums all day. Fucks me why anyone uses that platform at all. Literally the cesspool of the internet. But this is the #1 law of sales. I can't stress it enough. If you can describe the prospect's current reality better than they can themselves, they will automatically assume you have the solution. Not very logical, but it's 1,000,000% true. And because Andromeda effectively removed targeting from meta ads, your messaging in the ad, aka the copy, the scripting, the creative, is the targeting now. Just like how your Instagram newsfeed shifted from social media, seeing your actual friends' posts in your feed, to interest media, where the algo shows you what it thinks you'd be interested in, because Meta blatantly ripped TikTok's algorithm. This is the exact same shit, just for ads. So your job isn't to sit inside Ads Manager trying to manually hunt down every perfect prospect. If your message speaks clearly to the right person, Meta will naturally show it to people who it deems are probable to respond to it. And it's not just the copy, it's the visuals too. The person delivering the message matters just as much. If you're advertising to plumbers, who do you think they're more likely to trust? Some white asshole in a suit behind a desk? Or, I don't know, a plumber who actually looks and sounds like they understand the plumber's world. The office guy can say all the right words and still lose them immediately because their first thought is, this person has no idea what my life is like, and the trust is gone. I am an Australian white male in my 20s, and that means I'm likely to attract other Aussies in their 20s and 30s. Someone like Alex Catoni, Dara Denny, Shelby Sapp are obviously more likely to attract women because they are one. Cardinal Mason, more likely to attract teenagers. Tyson 40, more likely to attract chimpanzees and clowns. You get how this works. It's just a reflection of you. And when you think about it, it's pretty silly to limit the growth of your business to a small pool of people who resonate with one single spokesperson. That's why one of the best scaling strategies is, once you find an angle that works, just have multiple different people film it, all with different ages, ethnicities, backgrounds, so you can appeal to and bring in a wider variety of people who resonate with the spokesperson. And this same rule also changes the tone of the ad. If you're selling to business owners, you want to get right to the point, speak like an expert, and show proof. Business owners care about results and credibility. A simple talking head ad can do just fine for that job. But for a mass market consumer offer sold to the general public, you would want to push the pacing, the editing, the entertainment factor harder, because that's the kind of brain rot TikTok bullshit that they used to to seeing all day. I really hope you're not one of them. A different audience requires a distinct delivery. So before you write the hook, work out what the person already knows, whether they actually are looking to buy, and who they are likely already listening to. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. All the clues are literally right there. Now, once you know who is ready to buy, the offer has one job. Give them a reason to move now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. If the value is vague, weak, or difficult to understand, Meta can put the perfect prospect in front of you all day long. You ain't gonna make sales. But when the offer lands, they click, apply, book, buy, whatever, and then hit the confirmation page. That conversion is then reported back to Meta, and the pixel is gonna go out and find more people like that. So you better be extremely intentional about the exact type of person your ads are likely to pull in. Watch those leads like a hawk and make damn sure it's people that you want more of before Meta's in too deep and there's no way out. We call this pixel conditioning. When you optimize for a lead, call, or sale, you're telling Meta, this person counts as a win, find me more people like them. The algorithm takes that instruction and starts looking for clusters of similar people, like little pockets of oil in the ground. Say you're running a high ticket book a call funnel. Everything's going fine, and then a week later, all of a sudden, a pile of dirt broke, completely unqualified applicants comes through. Guilty as charged. Then fill out the application, reach the thank you page, and trigger the same conversion event as a great lead who's qualified to buy. Meta doesn't know the difference. It can't see lead quality. It only knows cost per result. It thinks it's killing it. It's like, fuck yeah, we're getting cheap ass leads. Let's go. Spend, 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 spend. It goes back into the market and finds more people who look just like the ones you rewarded it for finding. You fed the pixel brokies. Now it's building you a brokey pipeline. Congratulations. And instead of taking ownership, most advertisers blame the $1 trillion company with the cracked out alien level tech and say, oh, my ads don't work. Maybe you just suck. So what's the solution? We train the algorithm. The way we do this is by adding friction to the sales process. Think about friction as a tool to increase or decrease lead quality. If your cost per lead is too expensive, remove friction, so it's just a simple opt-in box, first name and an email. If you're getting a lot of leads coming through but they're dog shit quality, then you add friction. Things like a phone number field, heavier qualification copy, delaying the button on the page to force consumption of your VSL, more form fields they have to fill out to qualify themselves. You intentionally make it harder for them to do the thing you want them to do, so only the most serious people make it through. And then you get better quality leads. And you can just play around with friction. Think about it like a little joystick on a helicopter. Not my best analogy, but you get me. Take this registration page here, for example. It brought in the exact right people for my first 2 webinars that I did. I was stoked with the results, and then all of a sudden, this pixel fucks off to Timbuktu, starts bringing the most whack-ass random NPC BizOp non-copywriters who want to make 10K in 10 minutes doing nothing. Webinar absolutely bombed because we just had fucking donkeys on there. So I added a simple drop-down on the opt-in form. One field, are you a working copywriter? Yes or no. Everyone who ticks yes goes to the normal confirmation page, and that gets reported back to Meta as a lead, so it can go find more of them. Everyone who ticks no goes to what we affectionately refer to as the get fucked page, which is the same exact page but without a pixel. So Meta literally can't see them. It has no idea they exist, and it can't report them back to that results column. So now Meta only starts optimizing around people who ticked yes and shows my ad to more of the people who I want, which are copywriters. Sounds kind of trivial, but this single change is literally what enabled us to go from barely breaking even on every cold traffic webinar, or even losing money, to actually having our very first profitable cold traffic webinars that we can now scale. That's the difference that pixel conditioning makes, okay? Don't sleep on this shit. Super critically important you understand this. That's number 2. Okay, so we've dialed in your offer and your avatar and your pixel conditioning. The final piece of the puzzle is the message you're asking it to push out, also known as the copy. This is why I keep saying, if you're a copywriter, you're already 80% of a creative strategist. But because you call yourself a copywriter, you're earning like 30% as much as you should be. Listen, Andromeda does not care that you changed your shirt and moved your camera into the kitchen. That is the same ad wearing a fake mustache. The old ad playbook was one winning script with 3 to 5 hooks bolted onto the front. That's what used to work. Those days are dead. Over. Now, what Meta wants and needs is genuinely different messages. Andromeda is a hungry hippo. Take a weight loss offer, for example. Super blue ocean, totally not a competitive space at all. Think about how many different reasons there are that would make someone want to lose weight. One person wants to feel confident with their shirt off. One person just got their ass dumped. Another one wants to live longer. Someone else wants to fix the part of their marriage that disappeared when they stopped feeling good about themselves. It's the same product, but the reason to buy is completely different for different people. And because Andromeda is cracked and knows absolutely everything about everyone, including everything you're interested in, who you hang out with, what you talk about, it is literally analyzing your facial expressions, tracking your eye movements, listening to your conversations through your phone's microphone, literally knows you're watching this video right now. If you've ever had a conversation with someone about a random thing and then all of a sudden you start seeing a ton of ads for that specific thing, this is why. Meta has 52,000 data points on every user. That is how they're able to pair the exact right ad with the exact right person with laser precision. And it's why Andromeda now requires such a high volume of ads, 5 to 10 times more ads than before, because it wants different angles that appeal to different avatars with different buying reasons, like the weight loss example. Not 20 versions of the same script with the furniture moved around, which is exactly what gave birth to the rise of the creative strategist, because brands now need 5 to 10 times more ads, and that obviously means they need someone who can come in and make that amount of ads. They're willing to pay them 5 to 12 grand a month. That's why brands are literally throwing 10K a month retainers at anyone who can actually do this. It is a feeding frenzy out there. But having a strong angle only gets you in the door. The ad still has to survive the first 1.8 seconds because, believe it or not, that is the average view duration before people decide to keep watching or scroll away. That means most people have already decided whether they're sticking around before you've even finished your first sentence. Their thumb is hovering over that eject button, begging for a reason to scroll away so it can go watch a fucking cat video. So the hook is not where you explain the entire offer, introduce yourself, and then give them the backstory of how you discovered your revolutionary new method. Cold traffic is ruthless. They do not care. You could die in a fire and they would keep scrolling. It's brutal out there. So the job of your hook is to create the next question in their head. Something happened. How did it happen? Someone got a result. What did they actually do? Can I get that result? Will it work for me? There's a mistake that's costing me money. Which one is it? That unanswered question is what keeps people watching for a few more seconds because they want the payoff. The human brain hates open loops. It needs to close them. The first sentence of this video, I literally said, hey, there are 3 mistakes you're making with your meta ads that are crippling your results. And you're still watching right now because I opened a loop in your mind that your brain is itching to solve. Or maybe you're just bored and have nothing better to do. I don't know. The open line, the visuals, and the on-screen text all need to work together to create a compelling hook that creates enormous curiosity and benefit. There is no editing trick that can perform CPR on a dead idea. Now, what do we do after someone stops scrolling? Well, the body of your ad has to move them through your sales argument without leaving massive holes unaddressed where they could fall out. Now, from my experience, this is the most effective way to structure the body of your ad copy. You need to start by making the problem feel real. Show what it's costing, what keeps happening because of it, and what gets worse if left alone. Then hint at the transformation. Give just enough of the solution to show there's a way out, but don't dump everything all at once or it'll turn into a long tutorial. Then bring in proof. Proof is your god in copywriting. It is so important. I literally tested this by sending traffic to 2 versions of the exact same sales page. Both had the promise, the offer, and the guarantee, but one of them, I stripped out all the screenshots, testimonials, and results. I spent $800 in ads for the $197 offer, 0 sales. Then I switched the traffic to the version with proof and made the first sale within 2 hours. That is the difference that proof makes. It takes the claim from trust me, bro, to receipts they can actually check. Because you gotta understand, every claim you make creates a new question in someone's mind. This pencil will make you a millionaire. Well, now you got a fuckload of questions about this pencil. Firstly, that's bullshit. Secondly, what is it about this pencil that will somehow make me rich? Will this actually work for me? Who are you and why should I care? Is this legit or the same shit I've tried before? And it is up to you when you're writing your ad copy to answer the question at the exact moment that it appears in their mind, not 3 sentences later once they've already mentally checked out. There's an art and a science to this that the billion-dollar copywriting giant Agora calls copyboarding. You make your claim, then you need to think about the objection that claim is going to trigger. And then you need to deal with that doubt straight away before you move on. The sequence really matters here. If someone has some unanswered question addressed in their mind, they literally can't tune in and listen to the rest of the ad and your sales argument until that one question has been addressed. That's why the order matters so much. Until they care about the problem, the outcome carries no weight. And once they want it, your job is to make the claim believable. Pricing, timelines, and the rest of the logistics only matter after they want it, which happens after they believe that you understand their problem. You see, all of this stuff has a sequence. And finally, you need to give them a real reason to act now. Because most people who are interested still won't move unless there's a genuine reason to act now. If there's no urgency, they'll save the ad, park it in a tab somewhere, tell themselves they'll come back to it, and forget about it 10 seconds later. So there you have it. That was a lot in this video, but everything I've covered here is literally the anatomy of a high converting ad that has taken me over 7 years and over $1.4 million to learn. But the ad itself is only one piece of a much bigger system. There are 10 core pillars you need to master in order to make 6 figures as a creative strategist. This This video only touched on 2 out of 10. That's why I made another video breaking down my entire 6-figure creative strategist flywheel, from finding angles the market is dying for, to producing and testing the ads, reading the data, and getting paid a juicy 5-figure retainer as the strategist behind the machine. Leilani used just one of these 10 accelerators to land a $12,000 a month trial to hire opportunity on her very first application she ever sent as a total beginner. Literally insane. Can't make that up. I walk through all 10 parts of the flywheel, show you where your bottleneck is hiding, and give you a way to score the entire system so you know exactly what to fix first. Click the video on screen, grab a pen, and I'll break the whole thing down for you. See you there.